No, trust me, that's moron.
He wasn't on the right.
Oh my God, I'm on here with lunatics. I'm on here with lunatics and conspiracy theorists. I can't believe he just said that. And you're saying that the guy who smashed Paul Pelosi's head in wasn't on the right? Is that what Candace Owens, the lunatic, just said?
Okay, just so you know, if you're going to call somebody else.
Cenk Uygur is back on Piers Morgan to have another meltdown for all of us to watch and enjoy. However, this time, Candace Owens is there, and she lays the smackdown into Cenk Uygur, puts him in his place, nukes him out of orbit. Let's see how this goes down.
On Donald Trump, what do you want me to do? The guy did a coup attempt. He had fake electors, not even his own electors. You have your own slate of electors. He didn't use them because they said this is unconstitutional and illegal. You lost the election. And he said, all right, you can get in fake electors. Let's do a coup attempt here. Let's have them bum rush the Capitol. And then that'll create enough confusion that we can bring it back to the states and the Republicans will cheat for us. They even wrote it in a book. Then he said we should terminate the Constitution because he lost the election. So what do you want me to do, Piers? The guy hates democracy. He's a dictator wannabe. So, okay, should you shoot at him? Of course not. Any action that is physical like that or violent is a surrender in the intellectual field of debate and ideas. So it's a terrible idea. It's immoral, etc. But I'm not going to let up on Donald Trump for 1 second rhetorically, because he is a monster. And he tried to terminate our Constitution. He tried to steal an election. I've never seen anyone so despicable in American politics. And by the way, there's another reason why I'm angry at him, because I'm a populist. And he took populism and he perverted it to just turning into his own personal con. He's such a slimy con man. I loathe him. Everyone should vote against him. He's one of the worst people I have ever seen in politics, and I'm not going to let him terminate the Constitution or destroy this democracy.
You see, what I find extraordinary, Cenk, is you haven't even given it a beat since he nearly had his brains blown out on Sunday on a golf course, which came 2 months after...
Did he give a beat, Piers? Did he give a beat? Did he ever give a beat when he constantly talks about violence? Hey, if someone takes out somebody from with a stretcher, I'll pay the legal bills. Attack people. Oh, my political opponents, I'm going to jail them. I'm going to attack them.
Well, to be clear, well, hang on. To be clear, you're trying to equate him making a joke about maybe slapping or punching someone in a crowd who's abusing him with someone...
Can I make a joke about
someone taking an AK
Trump across the face?
Well, hang on,
can I make that joke?
With somebody...
Oh my gosh. Cenk? Oh God. Lord, like I'm not even saying this to be hyperbolic, but when it comes to Donald Trump, he is seriously unhinged. I think he does need to see somebody at this point. Look at the anger and fury that he speaks when he talks about Donald Trump. He is like seething with anger, this irrational anger toward Donald Trump. Man, I don't think I've ever hated anybody as much as Cenk Uygur hates Donald Trump. What do you guys think?
Can I make that joke, Piers?
Well, hang on. Somebody actually shooting him on a rally stage and then very nearly shooting him on a golf course with an AK-47. Do you not see the difference?
So, Piers, those are terrible actions. So what am I'm asking you a literal question. What do you want me to just go?
Could you give it a beat?
Okay, now Donald Trump's a good... Hold on, let me finish the question.
On a human level.
Donald Trump's a good guy. Donald Trump loves democracy. Donald Trump's still the same monster he was yesterday. So I hate that people are shooting at him. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's immoral. It's wrong.
Why would you be surprised?
I can't condemn it any stronger.
Why would you be surprised?
I'm not going to tell you that Donald Trump is a decent man
when he's a grotesque
human being.
Why would you be surprised that people are taking drastic action? Unhinged people with unhinged brains who are listening to constant rhetoric from people.
You didn't answer the question.
Well,
what do you want me to do? You want me to politically surrender, right?
I'm asking you a question. Do you not consider for a moment that within 48 hours you're still saying monster, demagogue, dictator, blah, 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 blah?
Because that's who he is.
Yes, but this is what is affecting...
So you want me to lie?
Yeah, because...
Piers, tell me this.
Because
do you want me to lie?
Let me finish. The shooter at the golf course, specifically in his recent social media posts, parroted Kamala Harris, saying that he was effectively an existential threat to democracy in America. You're doing the same. Does nothing make you pause?
You're insane.
Hillary Clinton's
You're
doing
insane.
the same.
Trump does it 2,000 times worse.
Oh my
So,
God.
so,
So,
because,
and
so
Piers,
because you think he does
so
it,
your
you
great
should do
idea
it too.
is Democrats shouldn't. Your great idea is Democrats shouldn't campaign against your beloved Donald Trump because some moron, mentally unstable guy took a shot at him. Okay, or two of them did. You know what? I can protect Donald Trump. Ban assault weapons. That'll protect Donald Trump way more than any of say nice things about him. Now that some lunatic took some shots at him. Here, let me be super clear. If you're on the left, I know the right-wingers love their guns and Second Amendment remedy, and they've been riled up to do violence nonstop. But if you're on the left and you do any violence, you are not one of us. You're a stupid person who does nothing but make a worthy cause look immoral with your insanity. Never do violence. Is that clear enough?
Or maybe when they constantly hear on the airways people like you and Hillary Clinton and others constantly depicting Trump as an existential threat to democracy
guilty,
in America.
Piers, you're totally guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty. Because you support Donald Trump.
Oh my gosh. This is like another reason why I think that there were shenanigans in the election, because when you have people like Cenk Uygur, who is this riled up about Donald Trump, who firmly believe, like Cenk does, that Donald Trump is this huge threat to democracy. He is pretty much the end of civilization, German man 2.0, essentially, Russian puppet, what have you. Like, how do you not expect some of the people working in the voting polls, like in the voting areas that help count the votes and stuff? How do you not expect them to act in ways to prevent this horrible monster from being reelected? It would be more surprising if they didn't act. Like, look how irrational Cenk is acting. You don't expect that these regular people out there who hear Cenk's rhetoric and other people in the media's rhetoric about Donald Trump wouldn't have some hand in helping to rig the election in favor of Joe Biden? I mean, people are starting to have unalive attempts against Donald Trump. Like, it's not completely out of the question that they wouldn't try to help in rigging the election.
Donald Trump has done 2,000 times worse, and you know it. You won't even run it on this show.
Okay.
You won't even run it on this show because Donald Trump, what he says is so much worse than anything a Democrat has ever said about him. So you won't even run it on this show. So that's it. Are you telling Donald Trump, you better shut up? You better not say any of those gross things that you always say. You know that he joked about smashing Nancy Pelosi's husband's head in with a hammer.
Yeah, and the truth
One
is,
of his
Cenk,
lunatic fans tried to murder Nancy Pelosi's husband, and he's like, it's so funny. Do you know that when they try to murder his vice president,
he then
turned around and said he deserved it? He's a psycho, and you defend him every day, Piers.
Here's the problem. You have no idea what I've said about Trump when he's done these things. If you had, you wouldn't accuse me of not talking about them, because I always do.
Shut up?
Because I always do.
Are you telling him to shut up?
I want to bring in Candace Owens here. Candace, look, we're 48 hours after the latest assassination attempt, and I'm listening to another liberal who I respect. I've had Cenk on a lot on this show, absolutely losing his mind about how despicable Donald Trump is and what a threat he is and a danger and so on and so on. Exactly the kind of rhetoric that Trump has said he believes is fueling these people to try and kill him. What do you make of where we are with this?
What I make of all of this is that if you are going to legitimately tell people that someone is a monster, that somebody is a dictator, that somebody is literally Adolf Hitler, if you're going to tell people that this person is a constant threat, why wouldn't somebody try to eliminate that threat? That would actually be a sensible thing for somebody to do if they believe the rhetoric that is coming out of people's mouths. Now,
then
if this had happened and it was flipped,
including you, Candace.
Cenk, you just spoke for a very long
You've
time.
done 10,000 times worse than you know.
Control yourself. Cenk, you're going to have to learn how to control yourself. I know it's very difficult for you, but you just had a very long time to speak and we were quiet. I promise you can do that. You need to sit on your hands, then you should do that. As I was saying, if this situation had been reversed and I had just watched somebody try to shoot Kamala Harris, I would be definitively saying how wrong it was. I would be saying to people that despite the fact that I do not want her to be president, of course, she is not so much of a threat that she needs to be shot. They don't stop this rhetoric because they do not want these assassination attempts to stop on Donald Trump. And I want to be very clear. The circumstance that we find ourselves in the West is one of remarkable privilege. And when you're in times of remarkable privilege, it creates actually an issue of having a lot of weak men, right? Weak men are the ones that are going out here
Like
proclaiming that Donald Trump is a threat, proclaiming that Donald Trump is somebody that is a dictator because they've never had real conflict in their lives. And you're about to see that example right now, the difference in the demeanor between someone like Cenk and Eric Prince, who I greatly respect, and who is somebody who has seen real conflict and understands what real threat is, right? He understands real threat. Cenk is somebody that grew up, obviously, with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never had to fight for anything in his life and has never had to put his life before somebody else's. So it's very easy for him to behave like this, to demonstrate like a toddler who is throwing his toys out of the pram when he doesn't get what he wants. And so he heightens his rhetoric and says, why am I not getting what I want? This man's a dictator. This man's a threat. And he's not being realistic. And it's embarrassing to our country, whether it was a person on the right or the left.
You guys haven't addressed it at all.
Cenk, I promise you are capable of
He wants to
controlling
terminate the
yourself
Constitution, so
for
you
3
like
minutes
that?
as somebody else speaks.
Let me bring in Eric. Eric, you are a
Bam. Oh my gosh. I have never seen such a calm and collected roasting of someone like Candace Owens just did to Cenk Uygur. Like, holy cow, Candace Owens just torched Cenk Uygur out of orbit, like nuked him completely. And she didn't have to yell like Cenk. She didn't have to flail around like a mad person like Cenk. Candace Owens just calmly just roasted him, calling him a child, essentially a spoiled child. A weak man, Candace Owens referred to Cenk, a weak man who is spoiled. And Cenk had to just sit there, shake his head, almost in tears it looks like, and just take it. And it was so beautiful to watch. Did you guys find it as beautiful as I did? Leave your comments down below. Subscribe if you're enjoying so far. Let's continue.
former Navy SEAL.
And a patient.
And a very patient former Navy SEAL, yes. You know, when I look at what's happened here, there are lots of strands to what's going on. And we'll come to the security aspect around Trump, which I find pretty scary, actually, that twice people have, with extraordinary ease, got into positions to assassinate him in the space of 8 weeks, which I just find quite remarkable and shocking and shameful, and a disgrace that the Secret Service has allowed that to happen. But before we get to that, this whole...
They saved his life.
Well, they didn't save his life. They put him in a position where his life nearly got taken. That's the truth. I mean, they didn't even check
the guy
the
didn't even get off a shot.
They didn't
and
even
you're still
check.
spreading
They
conspiracy
didn't
theories.
even check the perimeter of the golf course before he was exposed for 4 hours on that course 8 weeks after he was shot. It is unbelievable that anyone from the Secret Service would claim anything but a dismal failure of their preparation to protect the president, in my opinion. But we'll come to that. Eric, what do you make of this debate, which is raging right now, in this debate now, about the rhetoric and the responsibility of people who are on the airwaves, who are in public life, to dial down the rhetoric?
Look, like the video clip you opened with, there's an enormous amount of apocalyptic language spoken by the left, saying he must be eliminated, he is Hitler, and that unleashes every left-wing crazy to authenticate themselves by saying, I'm going to be the hero. This guy, this Ruth guy on Sunday, who was there for 12 hours stalking Donald Trump with a high-powered rifle with a scope, with ballistic plates up against the fence. And what did he have up there? A GoPro. Why? He was trophy hunting. He wanted to be the savior of the left, to say, I'm the one that killed Donald J. Trump. Trophy hunting, Cenk, for people like you responding to words that you're putting out there. Why else would he have a GoPro?
No, he wanted to get famous. You're totally right about that, Eric. And I hate that. But the way that this whole thing has been framed as if the right wing doesn't do rhetoric that is 10,000 times more dangerous and violent over and over again. Trump's fans sent pipe bombs to every one of his enemies. Trump fans hit Nancy Pelosi's husband in the head with a hammer, and Trump never even denounced it. How sick is that? That he never even denounced it. He laughs about it. So if we were using the Trump standard, we'd laugh about him getting shot at. But I'm not as disgusting as Donald Trump is.
Nancy Pelosi's husband had an interlude with some bizarre gay lover. Trust me,
he wasn't on the right.
Oh my God, I'm on here with lunatics. I'm on here with lunatics and conspiracy
wasn't on the
theorists.
right.
I can't believe he just said that. And you're saying that the guy who smashed Paul Pelosi's head in wasn't on the right? Is that what Candace Owens, the lunatic, just said?
Right. Okay, just so you know, if you're going to call somebody else a lunatic, you shouldn't be behaving like one in the process.
When you say, but Cenk, when you say these right-wingers are all nuts, do you understand the irony, given you just spent the last 10 minutes literally ranting?
Yeah, I do, Piers. So I am loud and aggressive because that's what the Democrats and the left wing need to stand up to lunatic bullies like this. Candace Owens just said that the attacker of Paul Pelosi was not a right-winger when he is a Donald Trump fan and a deep right-winger. And Eric Prince, the lunatic, had said that he was a gay lover of Paul Pelosi. A conspiracy theory so unhinged that how am I supposed to respond to it? You can't have a rational discussion with people who don't believe in facts and logic. Piers, are you agreeing with these two lunatics that he was not a right-winger
you should have a little
and that
bit
he was
more
some sort of gay lover of Paul Pelosi?
Eric Prince as a lunatic. He served our country. You should have a little more respect and decency.
Yeah, no, he's a mercenary and a disgusting guy, by the way. How many people did you get killed? Innocent people in Iraq, Eric. How many people did you have mowed down in Iraq, Eric?
You know, going back to your topic, Piers, perhaps it's time to bring back 19th century behavior, which maybe we had a more civil society then. If people are going to throw all kinds of bombastic language, they do so because they do it without consequence. In the 19th century in the UK, people would call them out for a duel. It doesn't have to be to the death. It could be swords. It could be bugle sticks. Maybe that would make for a more polite society. I don't know. I'm ready to go there.
You see that, Piers? You see that? Who was the first to threaten violence? Of course, Eric from the right wing.
Yeah,
Whereas I denounce violence. I denounce it strongly and loudly, and you heard it with your own ears.
But Cenk, what I don't think you appreciate is how ranting, incendiary rhetoric of the kind you've unleashed so far in this debate yourself can, with an impressionable, unhinged person who believes everything you're saying about Trump, as Candace said, why wouldn't that person think to themselves, yeah, we've got to get rid of him, we've got to stop him?
Okay.
So my question for you is, if you can't even dial it down within 48 hours of a second assassination attempt on Trump's life, when can you?
That's a great question from Piers Morgan. One of these days, what I would like to see is Cenk Uygur go on Piers Morgan or someone else's show thinking, oh yeah, he's going to go rant and rave about politics or Donald Trump or what have you. And then he's just going to be sitting there like, who is this guy? And it's like, oh yeah, this is a psychologist or a psychiatrist. This is actually an intervention, Cenk. Because this dude really needs an intervention and he really needs to seek some mental help. If you don't believe me, check out this playlist over here. It has a whole bunch of Cenk meltdowns that I think you'll enjoy.